The test, and what do you make of the whole situation?
You know, it's disappointing when boxing has these failed PD tests constantly. But I think, you know, I said this after the Canelo situation where he failed the test and then he was barely given any punishment. And he was not the first one that had happened with. It happened with a lot of other guys too. I think at the end of the day, you know, you look at these guys and you say the risk is worth the reward for these guys. There's not enough punishment when a guy fails a drug test. So, but yet the reward if they don't get caught is so super, you know, and it's a level where, you know, they can reach millions of dollars and, you know, and reach higher accolades because they've doped and gotten better results. So I think until you make the risk harsher than the reward, you're probably going to have more and more guys doping, and you're forcing, because the risk is so small, you're forcing guys that maybe and probably didn't want to dope to now dope. Because think about it, Canelo's the top of the middleweight division. You know he was doping. So for everybody who's looking up at him, this isn't Rocky IV. You don't stay clean and then beat the dope guy. You know, so for anybody who's looking up at a guy like that, you say, okay, I know the level he's on. I know I'm good. I know he's good. We know he's doping. I guess we got to dope, otherwise we're not going to catch him, right? So, and that's just one example of many fighters that we've seen over the years get barely any punishment for these doping scandals, you know. So, and really, does anybody ever tell you they got caught red-handed? Does anybody ever say, "Oh, I'm sorry, you got me"? It's always some kind of shake, some kind of meat, some kind of medication, some kind of anything else besides the fact that they took it, you know. So you're never going to actually get somebody to admit it. So, you know, you're going to have to be strict across the board all the way, you know, very, very strict across the board all the way, where you're costing fighters years of their careers. But this is a business before it's a sport, and money dictates everything. So when fighters generate enough money, and doped fighters will generate more money because they're getting better results, you know what happens when you finally do catch them, or if you do catch them, you got to go easy on them. Otherwise, you're going to cost a lot of people money. And that's the unfortunate thing about this. So that's why I'm done criticizing anybody who fails doping tests at this point, unless boxing, the sport of boxing as a whole, makes a big effort to control this. I don't blame anybody who's doping. I can't.
I mean, I was talking to Freddie Roach a few minutes ago about this topic, and he says that, you know, that fighters are putting their lives at risk on a regular fight, and if someone is caught taking something, it's even worse. You're literally, it's almost a death threat in a sense. So that being said, what kind of punishments should we see in boxing for fighters that are caught?
I think if you say to guys, your first time failing any kind of doping test for any kind of doping drug, your suspension is 2 years, and the second time your suspension is 5 years, and the second time is a lifetime ban, which sometimes 5 years can be a lifetime ban because really most guys' primes are not even 5 years. But 2 years, 5 years, done. I think you'll eliminate most guys doping. I think you'll eliminate most guys doping because maybe you get the accident, it give you the benefit of the doubt. Okay, you miss 2 years. You're never going to have another accident after 2 years. And if you did it on purpose, you know, you're never going to do it on purpose again if you had that 2 year ban. So the 2 year ban is a strong warning. And I think after that, if you do 2, 5 in lifetime, I think you'll clean up the whole sport. But then you know what's going to happen? You're going to see guys of that generation if those rules are implemented, you'll see them accomplishing so much less than past generations that they'll be hard to sell. Like you got guys winning titles in 15 weight classes. You know, you got guys jumping up and down all kinds of weight classes. You got guys, you know, throwing 1,000 punches a round. You know, you're not going to see that anymore. You know, and so suddenly, how do you sell these fighters when you've been selling all these doped up fighters doing all these amazing things? Now all of a sudden you clean the sport up. Now you have to sell these other fighters who are accomplishing a quarter as much. How do you sell them? Because everybody was stupid enough to buy into the fact that those guys were real fighters. You know, they weren't action figures who were doped up. So it's impossible at this point. I think personally, it's impossible at this point.
It's a tough issue. But speaking of accomplishments, let's talk about yesterday with DAZN signing Canelo. I know you touched on Canelo briefly right now, but $365 million.
Personal thing against Canelo. It's just my opinion on the whole doping situation. You know, he was just the latest guy. You know, as is Saunders, who was the latest guy. But I can't blame anyone at this point. Is what I'm saying. Well, go ahead.